What's up, y'all? Welcome to Sabrina Talks. I'm Sabrina. If you're new, if you're not, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, I know I've been gone for quite a bit. Like, I haven't made a video since my Montero video, but I'm back. I just, was dealing with life and stuff. So, this week on Sabrina Talks, we are going to be talking about a Marvel movie, and specifically, we are going to be talking about Eternals. Now, I don't think y'all know this, but I am a big comic book movie and TV show fan. Like, I was never really one to read comic books as a child, but then Saturday morning cartoons like Justice League and Spider-Man and X-Men and Teen Titans, all of them hooked me. So I've always been like a big fan of superhero movies. And then once they actually, really started the MCU and really started the DC EU, I don't know what they're calling it over at DC, but once they really started handing out some more superhero movies, I was hooked. So the reason I'm talking about Eternals today is one, because for some reason this movie is very divisive. I don't understand why, but I kind of wanted to throw some positive energy about this movie into the world. And then two, this was the first like Marvel movie that really had me thinking about like the theme and thinking about what's going on in the movie and like the overarching message it's trying to tell me. Because most of the time, Marvel movies, them shoot them, beat them up, defeat the bad guy kind of thing. Now, there is some in-depth, Marvel movies who have like a broader message and really have something to say. Like Civil War, like, Infinity War and Endgame, and like Captain America Winter Soldier. All of those are a little more in-depth in the Marvel world. But for the most part, they all kind of say the same thing, all kind of have the same message. Nothing much to share. But with the Eternals, it's a little more sci-fi than like superhero action movie, and I think that's why it's like really, connecting with me, because I really do enjoy sci-fi movies. So before we get into like the main theme that I kind of want to talk about today with the Eternals, let's talk about the actual Eternals and give some background on the movie, right? So this is the third movie to come out in phase 4. This movie was directed by Chloe Zhao, and the people starring in this movie, it's a long list of people. So I'm going to try to do my best to remember it from the top of my dome. But if I have to look at my notes, don't judge me. Alright, so we got Gemma Chan from Crazy Rich Asians and all the other things that she's done. We have Richard Madden and, what's that man named? Kit Harington from Game of Thrones. We have Salma Hayek. We have Angelina Jolie. We have Lauren Ridloff. We have Brian Tyree Henry. We have Camille Nanjiani. Lord, these names. We have Don Lee. We have Leah McHugh. Is that everybody? Oh, and we have Barry Keoghan. There we go. I did it. Transitioning to my overall thoughts, I absolutely love the fact that this movie has so much diversity in it. We have 5 white people and 6 people of color in this cast. 7 of people of color if you want to count Camille Nanjiani's side character that like follows them around throughout the movie. That's wonderful. I also just really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, this movie was very divisive for some reason. I don't know. I think it was fun. I think it was cool. It's a bit slow sometimes. There's a lot of info dumping in this movie, but I mean, they have 10, 11 characters they gotta introduce. I'm gonna give them a break. At the end of the day, I really enjoyed all of the characters. I loved their interactions with each other. They didn't seem extremely tight-knit, like they had chemistry off the charts, but to their defense, they're supposed to be gone from each other like for 5,000 years or however many long it is. So I can't be too mad at them that they're like not fully connecting and their chemistry isn't all there. My favorite characters out of everybody is Makkari, Phastos, and Gilgamesh. Those people, I just really love their power sets. I love the characters in the movie. I can see the ways that people would not like this movie, because maybe they just want like a whole beat 'em up kind of movie, but this is more of like a thinking and a philosophical. I mean, it's a Marvel movie, so it's not that deep, but regardless, I can see why people would be upset, but I would feel like people would just be kind of meh about it instead of like actively disliking it and calling it the worst Marvel movie. Oh, before I really get into this is going to be a spoiler discussion, so if you have not seen the movie, I suggest you hike on out of here and then come back when you have seen the movie. But I will be just discussing essentially the whole movie and the plot. So if you don't want to know these things, time to get out. Some other things that I just really enjoyed from this movie, the VFX. I don't know who did the VFX for this movie, but all of them deserve a raise. All of them deserve a round of applause. Some moments seem video game-ish, like the characters moving around, but I mean, they're fighting a big CGI monster, so there's only so much you can do practical. but the VFX for Makari and Icarus especially, top notch. I mean, the way Makari moves as a speedster and the way Richard Madden just kind of floats as Icarus, it's so believable. Now, I've seen my fair share of DC movies. I've seen the Flash TV show and I've seen all of the Superman movies. They do a pretty good job of having just Superman like floating and flying around. But the way they do it in this movie just, oh, it just hits a little bit different. Also, like I said, Karan Ringo's like valet, he's hilarious and he makes such a great part of the movie. And then the final thing I just kind of love that I want to talk about, and this really cracks me up, is the first mid-credits scene with Harry freaking Styles. Now, y'all know I am a One Direction stan. So most of the topics that I see on Twitter are somehow related to One Direction or Harry or all in any of the members. So a couple of weeks before Eternals came out, I saw people saying that Harry's in the movie and that he's Thanos' brother. And I was like, these people gotta be joking. I'm like, ain't no way this man is in a Marvel movie. Yeah, he was in Dunkirk. He's gonna be in that new Olivia Wilde movie. But a Marvel movie? Nah, not Harry. Why did the credits roll and I just saw his outline and I was like, that's Harry freaking Styles. I don't know who his agent is, his like acting agent, but they did a great job because how did he end up in this Marvel movie? I don't know, but that really tickled me pink to see this man in there. I was really cracking up for a good 5 minutes. I am slightly upset that I got spoiled by that, but people be tweeting about when Harry just be, you know, at a grocery store or something, so there was really no way that I was not going to find out about this before the movie. The last thing I kind of just want to highlight before we get into like the main theme of this video is the things that just don't make sense with this movie to me. There's like one big thing that just does not make a lick of sense for me, and that big thing is how Tiamat, whatever that, the celestial that's inside of Earth, how is he just chilling in the ocean, broke through the crust, his head, hand, and a little piece of his shoulder is just chilling outside of the ocean and nothing's wrong with the earth? That doesn't make no sense. How on God's green earth is the earth just perfectly fine? Listen, the minute he would have cracked through that crust, tsunamis, earthquakes, all of the natural disasters would have been happening because he broke through the crust of the earth. We'd be feeling massive earthquakes when the plates just be passing each other, let alone if a celestial was to break through the earth. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I still enjoyed the movie, but I was like, that last part makes no sense. And then that one island that crushed in itself as Tiamat was expelling outside the earth, there was definitely houses on that island. There was a scene where some houses got crushed. Nobody cares about them people. No one wants to try to rescue them, save them, make sure they're alright. Nothing. Everybody's just all hunky-dory. Yes, we saved the earth. Did you? Did you really save the earth? Because this is seeming like natural disasters is going to be happening every 5 seconds because of this celestial that's just chilling in the crust of the earth. I know it's a comic book movie. You're supposed to dispense your belief, but like, no. Another thing I don't really understand is how Crow, like the main head deviant, how he's mad at the Eternals and want to kill the Eternals because the Eternals been killing the deviants, even though he is aware that Arishem made both of them and made the Eternals to kill the deviants. How are you mad at the Eternals? The person you should be mad at is Arishem, because he made y'all and then realized that was a bad decision and made the Eternals to come fix y'all. The Eternals got nothing to do with this. This is just the way they was made. How you mad at them? You need to be mad at Arishem. Y'all needed to have teamed up and started beating up on Arishem. The last little thing that doesn't make sense to me is just like a little funny thing. Cersei and Icarus go to like Pound Town, and that doesn't make sense to me because we find out that they're just robots essentially. So how was y'all going to Pound Town? He made y'all to go protect the humans and fight the deviants, but he gave y'all human emotions. He gave y'all human body parts? For what? See, that's his fault. He can't even be mad at the Eternals for now feeling love for humanity when he's the one who gave them human emotions. With all my general thoughts of this movie out the way, let's get into why I wanted to make this video. Now, Eternals is a very relationship heavy movie. There's relationships all over the place, but there's one main relationship and one main thing that kind of centers the whole movie. Which is why I titled this video Eternals is essentially a love story, because it is. We get a love story between Cersei and Dane and Cersei and Icarus, and that's kind of the main crux of the movie. We get the other relationships, which I'll get into in a second, but Cersei's relationship with the two men is essentially what drives this film. Let's talk about some of the other relationships, right? So we have, like I said, Cersei and Dane, Cersei and Icarus. We have Gilgamesh and Athena. We have Druid and Makari, which, by the way, is my personal favorite relationship. We have Phastos and Ben. We have the relationship between the Eternals and the Celestials, and we have the relationship between Eternals and humanity. Before I get into the big relationships, let's talk about some of the minor ones. Druid and Makari, like I said, my favorite relationship. I ship them very much so because they're just incredibly cute. Have you seen the chemistry that they have? Amazing. But they never really state whether or not, you know, they like each other. Druid always just calls her beautiful Makari, and they just kind of give each other looks. But it's very much implied that they like each other. I would love to see more of them in future Eternal movies. Phastos and Ben, it's a wonderful gay couple. I mean, I'm pretty sure some of the bad reviews is based on the fact that we see them kiss, but I don't got time for the negativity nonsense because they are very, very cute together, and they have a child that's just absolutely adorable. So I love Phastos and Ben. I would love to see like a little short on their lives and how he ended up falling in love with Ben and all of that. Moving on to Gilgamesh and Athena, just like with Makari and Druid, we don't really have a defined relationship between them two, but you can see their relationship as just being something where, you know, two people love each other, whether it's platonic, romantic, familial, whatever, but you can see the love that they have for each other. And their relationship is where the main theme of this movie is kind of said. We get the more exemplified nature of it with Cersei, Dane, and Icarus, but their relationship for the most part is what is the theme of this movie, because Gilgamesh tells Athena, like, yeah, you know, you've been going through mad weary, but on any planet I would still choose to stay with you and protect you and help you out and all that stuff. And Athena tells Cersei, like, I asked Gilgamesh why he did that, or like why he would, you know, stick with me and stuff like that. And he said, you protect the things that you love because it's the most natural thing to do. And there lies the main theme of this movie, at least to me. That's what I think the main theme of this movie is. And with that main theme recognized, now let's talk about the love triangle of the movie, right? Cersei, Dane, and Icarus. Like I said, on the surface level, it just looks like Gemma Chan's trying to decide between two handsome white men. But if you look a little bit closer into their relationships, you can see that it's really Cersei's love triangle between her duty as an Eternal, as shown with Icarus, and her love for humanity, as shown with Dane. Let's talk about Cersei and Icarus first, right? So her relationship with Icarus is more like, all right, well, I am an Eternal. Let me date this other Eternal as we, you know, do our mission together and fulfill our duty. Now, we see that that relationship does not work out in the end. In the movie, we don't really see Cersei like falling in love with Icarus. We more see Icarus falling in love with Cersei. You know, he's following her around. He's giving her longing looks. He's, you know, telling people he's in love with her and telling her that he loves her, which is why I think their chemistry is not fully there. And I think that's intentional because it's like, well, they were going to end up together regardless. So they don't need to have too much chemistry with each other. Now, Cersei and Dane, on the other hand, have a lot more chemistry. And like I said, I believe that's to be intentional because she has a lot more chemistry because she, out of all of the Eternals, is the one who loves humanity the most. She's obviously going to fall in love with the human, and that's who she's going to end up with at the end of the movie because who does she save? Humanity. Now, on the backs of the main love triangle with Cersei, Dane, and Icarus, we have the relationship that the Eternals have with humanity as like the next backing thing that kind of drives this movie. So throughout this movie, we get to see how most of the Eternals feel about humanity and their relationship with it. And that ends up playing into who decides to save the earth and who decides to just stick to their duty. Starting off with Cersei, obviously, like I said before, she is the one Eternal who has the most connection with humanity. She loves them the most. So obviously she's going to be on the side of fighting for humanity. Next, let's move into Icarus. Icarus, like I said, opposite side of Cersei. He is dedicated to duty. He doesn't have any feelings towards Earth besides the fact that he was trying to get to know humans just to kind of get to Cersei. So he doesn't have a direct connection to humanity for him to be like, oh, let's save it. No, he's dedicated to his duty, hence why he was the main antagonist. Now, Phastos originally started off being like, yeah, cool, humanity, and then was like, ooh, actually, no, I don't like humanity. They're annoying. They're terrible. We shouldn't have tried to save them. And then eventually he goes into, no, humanity's worth saving because I've seen it with my husband and I've seen it with my child. So once again, he ends up on the saving humanity side because he got people to go home to. Like, he's trying to make sure they survive. Makari is one of the people who ends up on the side of saving the earth. However, she seems to be kind of indifferent to humanity. She seems to just kind of be like, well, I don't really care about them, but I do like their possessions. I do like, you know, the things that they create, because she collects and, well, steals, I should say, most of the artifacts that are, you know, well known on Earth. So she doesn't have a clear motivation as to why she's trying to save humanity, but I'm glad that she's on that side regardless. Druig is probably the second out of the Eternals who love humanity the most. He really loved humanity and really wanted them to just kind of live in peace and harmony, hence why he was trying to mind control everybody. He then realizes that, you know, humans aren't humans without their flaws. So despite him not being able to fulfill his wish of kind of mind controlling all of them so they're not fighting all the time, he still is on team save humanity. When Ajak first came onto the earth, she was strictly, we're here for duty, we're here for this mission, I'm not letting down Airsham, I'm the leader of this group. But then she switched to the side of team save humanity because she saw what happened with the snap and how everybody came back, and she was like, no, humanity's worth saving. And that's how she ended up getting herself killed, because Icarus was like, that's not gonna work out for me, honey. But she, like Phastos, ended up being switched onto save humanity side. Gilgamesh and Athena, like with Makari, I couldn't tell their feelings towards humanity. They seem to want to save it, but Gilgamesh ends up dying before he even gets the chance to try to figure out what he wants to do. And Athena stays on the side of saving humanity for I don't know what reason, but she seems like she doesn't really like the whole process of killing planets to create life for somebody else. So I think that's probably why she ended up on Team Save Humanity. Lastly, let's talk about Kingo and Sprite. Kingo was definitely the sole middleman of this group because he, like everybody on Team Save Humanity, loved humanity. You know, he loves movies, he loved doing the whole thing. Obviously, he loves Quran. He's a full fan of humanity. However, he is definitely dedicated to his duty, which is why he ends up also siding with Icarus, saying like, you know, we need to destroy this planet so other planets and universes and whatever's can be built. But since he didn't want to fight anybody because he loves everybody, which is very, very sweet, he's like, I'm out of this fight, see y'all later. Now Sprite, she doesn't have a strong connection to her duty and her mission, but she ends up on that team because she is so envious of humanity, so envious of the fact that they get to grow up and have a family and have a life and experience love and all that jazz, when she's kind of stuck in this eternally youthful kind of body and face that she's just like, well, I want to look older, I want to be able to have love and all of that stuff, but I can't because of the way that she was made. So she ends up just kind of going on team duty because she just wants this whole thing to be over with and she wants the planet to die. So you can see how all of their relationships with humanity kind of evolves into where they end up being at the end of the movie. Moving on to the last big kind of relationship I wanted to talk about, which is the relationship between the Eternals and the Celestials. Now this relationship is definitely the most similar to me to like a parent-child relationship. Definitely more on like the, you know, religious creator and religion followers kind of relationship. Airsham in the movie kind of plays the role of like God, or plays the role of like a parent. And then the Eternals can be seen as, you know, one like a child to their parent, and or religious followers to their creator, or like Jesus himself to God, because Jesus was the son of God. The Eternals are essentially the child of Airsham, so you see how all of that just kind of connects. And then we also see it exemplified within the movie because they have the same kind of tropes between those kind of relationships. You know, they're questioning their creator, they're getting angry at the creator's decision, they're wondering why they're even, you know, made in the first place. Some of them have deep loyalty and love for their creator, some wondering why they were made the way they were made. We can see all of that throughout all of the Eternals relationship with Airsham. But yeah guys, that's all of my thoughts that I wanted to share on Eternals. I just really love the relationships that are portrayed here, because this is not a typical origin movie where it's just like, here's who I am, here's the bad guy that I gotta go beat up because he wants to destroy the world or destroy the town or whatever. Eternals had a bit more nuance, and it just kind of focused heavily on the story rather than just kind of like the action, which I really, really enjoyed and why I wanted to talk about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did. Share it with your friends. Subscribe to my channel for more movie, music, and entertainment related content. There's going to be a lot more music related content towards the ending of this year because it's almost December, which means it's Christmas time, but it'll be Spotify Unwrapped season and end of the year list season, so look forward to those things. I will absolutely be doing a top album, top songs, top music videos, that kind of situation, and also just telling you my Spotify Unwrapped with y'all. So if you would like to see that kind of content, I suggest that you subscribe. No pressure, but come join the fam. It's going to be fun, at least in my opinion. Talk to me in the comments and let me know if you've seen Eternals. Who's your favorite character out of all of the Eternals? What do you think of the end credits scene? Just talk to me in the comments and let me know. You could also talk to me on social media at Sabrina Talks 2 on Instagram and Twitter, and at Sabrina Talks 2 on TikTok. Once again, thank you so much for watching my video. I'll catch y'all in my next one, and as always, please be safe, be smart, be kind. Bye guys.